everybody. Okay, today I wanted to talk about hot process soap and adding milk. Okay, so I've already done a part of this because we ran out of gloves. The glove box was empty. I didn't know that. And so I went ahead and mixed the lye water with the oils. I'm sorry, I know that's bad. We are supposed to wear gloves. And then I washed my hands and I put vinegar on them afterwards just for safety's sake. So, but I wanted to figure out, I wanted to teach y'all how to calculate how much milk, your milk to water ratio. Now, so my recipe called for 30 ounces, 0.4 of water, okay? So then I wanted to put all of this milk in there. I want to make it extra milky, all right? So always when you do pour up your milks for the freezer, always put your weight on them. So this one here is 5.6, so minus 5.6. And that equals 24.8. So then you would use 24.8 ounces of water. But I also want to put this one in there, which is 13.3. So minus 13.3 equals. So I put all of my lye and 11.5 ounces of water right here in this. And I put it in the refrigerator the night before and I let it get nice and cold. I brought it straight out of the refrigerator and I put it in here. Now hang on, I'm gonna let you see what it looks like. So it has been in here about 3 to 4 minutes and it's still movable, and you have to really watch it and make sure that it's movable and it doesn't go to the gel phase, which is stiff and hard, and then you cannot add milk. Okay, so I'm just keeping to watch it, and if I feel like, I like to wait 5 minutes, okay? So I went ahead and waited my 5 minutes, but I was checking it like every 30 seconds to make sure it wasn't going into gel and stiffening up, okay? So now I'm gonna add my milk. When you freeze fresh goat's milk, you will find that the fat will separate from the milk. And so you really want to scrape your containers out good, because the fat, which is the best part about the milk that makes your soap so scrumptious, will separate. And so you can sort of see that. I let it defrost in the refrigerator overnight. Don't put it in the microwave. Just set it the night before in your refrigerator, and the next day it'll be all unfrozen and ready to go. And you'll even see, it'll almost have sometimes like a whey look to it. I think if you shook it, you could make butter. All right, so I'm gonna bring you closer. All right, so you can see that this will then blend in. And it will immediately start getting thick because the natural sugar in the soap causes an acceleration of the soap. That's why goat's milk soap does not take as long to cook. So I'm going to take it the rest of the way with a spoon because I don't have any gloves to protect my hands from splatter. See how that's going right into gel? You want to really dig down in the crevices and do the overspin, I call it. All right, so now she's nice and blended. I only cook on low or warm. Some crock pots have a warm feature, and if you want to be really careful about burning and you have plenty of time, you can cook on on warm. Every once in a while you'll find one that it's just too low on warm to do you any good. Now we're going to clean up our sides extra good. Remember, every drop you rescue from those spoons is soap you get to put in your mold. Alright, so now we're going to cook this, and then we're going to add our super fats and some other fun ingredients. Okay, so when you are calculating to make hot processed goat's milk soap, you know, there's people who put their lye in the milk. And why do we use lye other than making soap? You know, and I know we make hominy with it, and some other food products are created using lye. But we mainly use it to eat biodegradable, you know, materials out of our drains. So I don't want to put that in my milk anytime soon, you know. Because you know, you've got to put a little bit, and it has a chemical reaction with the milk, and it starts eating the milk fats. You put a little bit more, and it just keeps working. You have to do it really slow, because if you just dump the lye right into the milk, it will burn the milk, and it stinks really bad. So you have to just do a little bit at a time, put it in the milk. Or some people will freeze their milk and then add the powder to the top of the milk and blend it around, and they slowly unthaw the milk with the powdered lye. But then, even when you do it this way, you can't just use that immediately. You've got to let it sit till it cools off to the right temperature, maybe put it in the refrigerator or whatever. So hours later, you're going to be able to use that to make soap. Well, that means that the lye has had contact with your milk for hours. Eating it. Blah. I don't want that. So what I do is I take my water and I subtract the amount of milk I want to use. I put the rest of the water in my container, and then I put all of the lye in part of the water, okay? So, and then I can let that cool off, then put a lid on it so it's airtight, stick it in my refrigerator, and not use it till the next day. That lye can eat on that water all day long, don't offend me in any way. But it eating on my milk, that offends me, because I want to give my customer the most awesome, you know, soap possible, and the most natural soap possible. And to give them soap that the milk was ate on for 6 to 12 hours by lye sucks. So I put all of the lye powder in part of the water, and then I blend that together, and I wait at least 5 minutes, because the lye has a chemical reaction with the oil, therefore degrading its power to eat my milk. Then I add my milk and I cook it the rest of the way. And as soon as it gets through gel phase, the lye is dead. So it's only going to have a very limited amount of contact with my actual milk. And that I give a thumbs up. Alright, so I'll bring you back for more information. And we're going to put fun things in this soap, and I'm going to give you the recipe. Alright, bye everybody. Okay everybody, just took about 20 minutes. It's completely out of gel and completely turned into soap. So this is done and ready for the super fats. You can pre-melt these if you want to, but we've got cocoa butter and shea butter in here. And glycerin. And this is our African black soap, so it has a very structured recipe according to the recipe from that regions. And so we don't use any olive oil in the super fats, but we do use it in the base. In the base we're using olive oil and cocoa butter, no, olive oil and palm oil from sustainable palm oil that has not been bothering, you know, it's not where they're taking away the habitats of orangutans. And then the super fats are cocoa butter and shea butter and glycerin. So now what we're going to do is we're going to leave this on low or warm, depending on which way you're going, and we're going to let that the super fats melt and dissolve into the soap. I'm gonna just leave my spoon in. It's been one of those kind of days. I've been coming back here and turning this stuff off, and then another 10-15 customers comes in, then I have to come back here and turn it back on just to keep it from overcooking. I don't even know if it's alive. Hang on, let me look. I don't think we killed it. I guess it was all that turn it on and turn it off stuff. All right, and then I had Andrea, which is coming in here helping me package soap today, to try to catch up. I had her to stir it a couple of times so it lived. This is supposed to take 45 minutes once you get the milk in, and it's been cooking for, I know, 2 hours, maybe 2.5. So, but we just kept turning it off and on so it wouldn't get too overly hot. All right, so now we're putting our African black soap powder in here. And everybody has their opinion. They chew me out if I don't use the right stuff. Then they chew me out just because I'm making this soap, because they think that African Americans should be protected and that nobody else should be able to make black African soap, but black African individuals, I guess, or maybe it's not African American, so is it Africans? I don't know. You figure it out. But in any case, they get mad at me from time to time because I make the soap, and then they get mad at me because they don't think I put the right stuff in there. But you know what? If you're having a good time and you're learning something, we got a thumbs up. And I make the soap, and people think it's great for their skin. And anything I make, I teach other folks how to make too, so that you can make great stuff for your friends, family, or you can sell it in your product line and make great products to sell. So what I do is I dry plantain skins, plantains, that's the banana looking things, only they're different. And then I burn them in my oven. I take palm leaves or plantain leaves, any kind of tropical leaves I can get my hands on. And then there's something called tamara or something, and it looks very similar to cocoa pods. And it's a bean type thing, and they use it, the Spanish population, it's tropical, and Spanish population uses it for making popsicles, soda drinks, desserts, and different things. And I break that up and take the stems out. I take the stems out because those stems are hard. Sometimes you have to dry them a little bit before you can get the stems out. But I take the stems out as best I can, and then the outside shell and the internal part of the bean, I dry it in the oven, and then I burn it in the oven till the point that I have ash. And then I grind it. And that's what that is. And there's other videos on YouTube showing exactly how I do it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to stir that in. We've already got all this in here. And Andrea, would you call off to me the recipe on that, the oils and what's the ounces amount, and the water and the lime? Oh, and I do goat's milk in this black African soap. And I don't know if in Africa they put goat's milk in their African black soap, or is it black African soap? Whatever it is, I always get that confused.
Okay, you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, for water, we need 30.4 ounces.
All right, water is 30.4.
Lye is 12.73.
Lye is 12.73.
Okay, and then we've got coconut oil, 35 ounces.
Coconut oil, 35 ounces.
Palm oil, 35 ounces.
Palm oil, 35 ounces.
Olive oil, 10 ounces.
Olive oil, 10 ounces.
And then you use 15 ounces of goat milk.
Well, the goat's milk, I already told them how we did that.
Okay, cool.
All right. And on the olive oil, you can use pomace olive oil or non-pomace olive oil. You can use organic, first press, cold press. And then what was the super fats?
Super fats were 9 ounces of shea butter.
9 ounces of shea butter.
6 ounces of cocoa.
6 ounces of cocoa butter.
1 tablespoon of glycerin.
1 tablespoon of glycerin.
And
and a healthy squirt of full strength vitamin E.
Yep.
Or a half a teaspoon. A quarter of a teaspoon of that diluted stuff. No, it'd be a half a teaspoon if you're buying the diluted stuff in the health food stores. But if you're buying the full strength vitamin E, or buying the little capsules where you open them up and squirt it out, that's full strength vitamin E, then you can use just a good healthy squirt. All right. You want to see? Hang on. All right, that's what it looks like while I'm blending it in. A lot like blending activated charcoal in. And you just keep mixing it till you get it all mixed in. Okay, we have reduced the soap down to 160. You want to keep your sides clean as possible with your spatula. Keep your spoon clean while you're doing it. You want to stir often during the cooling process. Now we're going to add our essential oils, and I will give you the recipe. So I'm going to pour my essential oils on there. We have to get down to at least 160. I found that if I don't, the essential oils will flash. There is a few essential oils that say that their flash point is below 160. And so far, of the ones I've tried, 160 has done fine, except for with grapefruit. Grapefruit, I heard its flash point's like 35 degrees. I tried it in a mixture of citruses, and I got my soap down really cool. It was a difficult process, but you can look at my How to Make Pink Lemonade soap. I'll try to put that at the end of this one if I can remember, and you can see how I tried to manage to use grapefruit. I did seem to have the grapefruit smell add to the pink lemonade soap, and it really does smell good, but I can't remember exactly how I got away with it. I may have to watch that video myself. So anyway, so now when you're stirring in fragrance or essential oils into your soap, you're gonna see shininess as soon as you add it. And you wanna stir until you get back to an opaqueness again. And that means that the fragrance and essential oils have blended together. The fragrance or the essential oils has blended well with the soap. If you don't blend them well enough, when the soap is curing on the curing rack, it will weep essential oils. And that is no fun. And your soap is, of course, going to lose its scent. So you just keep stirring till all the shinings are gone. And one of the things I do, if I have the time, is I'll stir it in really good, and then I'll just let it sit and soak in. So I told you I'd give you the recipe. I thought I was doing the detox soap, but I'm not out of that one. I'm doing the skin reconditioner. And you can also just call it floral black African soap or African black soap, whichever one it is that's the right term. I never seem to get that right. All right, so this is a double batch. So if you're halving the recipe that I gave earlier in the video so that you can do it in a 4-quart crock pot instead of doing a 7-quart crock pot. 7-quart crock pot requires 2 Essential Depot molds. A 4-quart crock pot and half of this recipe requires 1. All right, so it's half of what I'm telling you if you're doing a single. If you're doing a double like me, it's all of it. 8 tablespoons geranium, 2 tablespoons frankincense, 2 tablespoons rosemary, 6 tablespoons lavender, and 4 tablespoons lang lang. Lang lang. So you can call this floral African black soap or black African soap, or whichever one you want to call it. Or I find that geranium is very healing to the skin. Frankincense, you know, doTERRA says frankincense is super healing to the exterior of the skin. Rosemary has some wonderful skin properties. Lavender is considered the most healing essential oil for the skin. And lang lang just makes you feel good. And it just really smells good, and it's really soothing to the mind and the body. It may have some skin properties in there, but it really smelled good, and it made the floral just smell perfect. Alright, so you can do some research on that lang lang and see if it has any skin properties or skin restoring properties. And I'm going to put my book, my recipe book, away from the melee. Alright, so let's see. Oh yeah, that helped immensely. Those essential oils just sit there and soaked in. Let me show you what that looks like. How it's right back to the opaque look of soap. I mean, it has a little extra glossiness, but you especially don't see any glossy pockets. And it's really back to a nice opaque look. And that's what you want. Alright, so now we're going to put our soap in the mold. And this recipe is sort of big. It's bigger than my normal recipes because I wanted the bar to be a little bigger on this one. When you look at the African black soap that is coming from your competition, a lot of times they just add cocoa powder to it to make it black. I don't even know if they use a particular base recipe, but they just think if they add a little cocoa powder, it's African black soap or black African soap, whichever it is. And I disagree with that. So since I've put this out, these videos out on how to make the African black soap or black African soap, you'll see even people in Africa doing it the way I do it. Because I found several videos of people who were either from Africa, had recently merged over here, or they were in Africa, who were making the soap now as I do. And so I was really excited about that. I liked it anyway. So now we're gonna I'm gonna give it a little twirl. Oh my gosh, I got a fly in here. That's our first fly of the year. And then it always gets taller on this side because you're twirling to this side. So I shake it down, and then I go ahead and put it back to a more flat top because this bar is so tall. So we're doing this again. We're just doing little spinnies with a long-handled spoon that I call the TEA spoon. Because when I was a little girl, my grandma and my grandpa would make unsweetened tea, put ice in it, and then try to sweeten it. And that's what they'd put on the table to stir the sugar into the tea. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the differences between this African black soap or black African soap and what you might purchase from Africa. Okay. So the best of my understanding, the recipe base is about the same, except for some people in Africa cannot afford the cocoa butter anymore, and so they're not adding it. They're just adding shea butter and palm. But the original recipe was involving cocoa butter, shea butter, and olive oil. And so I use and palm oil. And that's traditional oils of the regions. So I use the palm oil, the olive oil, and what was the other oil we used? Olive oil and palm oil And coconut oil, there we go. All regional to the areas of Africa, to the best of my understanding. And then I save the shea butter and the cocoa butter and put it in after the cook so that it doesn't get touched by the lye or turned into soap. It just floats around the bar to make your skin feel moist and awesome. When I figured this recipe, I figured it with a 0 super fat. So if you're running it through the calculator, the soap calculator to alter it, make sure you change the super fat level to 0. And then you'll have to, you know, if you're cutting it down in half, then you'll just half the super fats that I used. You'll, you know, it's best just leave it alone, just do it like I say. But anyway, you can run it back through the calculator. I'm not sure, but I probably did about a 10% super fat or an 8% super fat, and I don't remember now. It might tell on that recipe up there what the percentage of the super fat is, but I can't remember. And it's been too many years now that I've been making this soap. But in any case, if you're running the main recipe back through the soap calculator, make sure you put the super fats at 0 and then figure your super fats according to the percentage that you wish to use, and do it with cocoa butter and shea butter if possible to keep it very traditional. All right, so in Africa, I've watched videos of this being made. It's not made in the most cleanest environment in the videos I've seen. It's just made outside in old tin barrels and cast iron pots with sticks as stirs and over the flame. And I've seen it poured into molds right down on the ground, and then they'll lay plastic out the next day or 2 or 3 days later and turn it upside down onto to plastic and still just leave it outside to open dry. So, you know, so we're bringing it to a little bit more of an American sanitary situation. So, you know, we're doing it in the soap room. We're trying to be a little bit more sanitary with it. So that's a couple of differences there. And then the other thing is they don't purchase lye. What they do is they take the ash that they make and they pour water in it, and then they take the ash and the water and pour it in the oil to make soap. But what happens with that is it's very hard to control how much actual lye is produced from the ash, because it's not regulated. You know, it's not a controlled, and you know, to where, you know, this much ash and this much water will make this much lye, and next time that much ash and that much water will make a different kind of lye. I think it varies from burn to burn. So they're using that. So what happens is when you mix the ash and water into there to use the acidic ash, or potash you might say, as your lye, sometimes you get a really soft soap and sometimes you get a really hard soap. Sometimes your super fat level might be 3, and other times your super fat level might be 25, because the strength of the lye varies. And sometimes you might have no super fats and it'll take the hide right off of you kind of situations. So what I do is I buy Essential Depot lye. And I formulate my recipe on a soap calculator, and I use a controlled lye that tells you exactly how much you need in water for the amount of oils that you're using and the kind of oils you're using. Okay, well, but we still have the fact that the ash that's in the soap is acting similar to activated charcoal. And tropical ash may be better than pine ash, which is activated charcoal. But one way or the other, that tropical ash is in there, and its second use is to make the soap be very purifying to the skin, keep your skin even. Acne is it's great for acne, rosacea, types of eczema, things of that sort. So just because the ash is in there, whether it's put in there in the lye water or whether it's put in after, like I do it, it's still there to help with the skin, very similar to the properties of activated charcoal. All right, I think I got all that out. It has been one hair of a crazy day, let me tell you. This store has been absolutely swamped all day, and I haven't even had time to have the privacy to pull my hair out. And that makes my dyslexia bad. So this African black and the black African, I couldn't remember it on a good day, but this is bad taste. So just don't ask me. I'm just not good with that today. But anyway, I hope you've learned something. I hope this video has been of some use. And I thank you so much for watching. And I'll try to remember to put the pink lemonade in there. And I'll try to see if I can find some of the videos where I'm showing how to make the ash and poke in there on the videos that you could click on the end of this video. All right, hit the like button. Hit it right now. Don't make me have to come over there. And I thank you so much for sharing this video on Facebook. Maybe nobody will holler at you because you're showing how to make African black soap or black African soap.